Hey guys, it's Vince. Today in this video, I am implementing a tutorial for you guys who once again want to get the most out of your system. And I don't care what motors you're running. I don't care really what software you're running, although this is based around Mach 3. I'm sure other motion control software has similar features, but in Mach 3, there is a feature that many of you don't even realize you have. Let's come up here to function config, and we're going to come down to screw mapping. Now, if we scroll over here, I'm just moving the screen over, you can see it's got all your axis, screw lengths, screw map correction enable, true position, add correction point, read encoders, and then program position. Now, many of you don't even understand what you're looking at. So what I decided to do is not myself to train you, but also Google AI. And the reason I'm doing this is I got some flack from guys watching me use Grok Super. I said, you know what? It doesn't matter what we use. We can implement training on any platform, but I want to show you how fast and how accurate this is and just how powerful this feature is. So right here I typed in, give me the process for precise axis calibration in Mach 3 when you would need to implement screw mapping versus just the software's built-in steps per axis calculator. Now, once again, this is not a novice thing to do in the sense that if you have more to learn, I suggest you research on my channel dealing with axis calibration first to make sure you understand the process. However, once you do, feel free to come over here and it says in Mach 3, you should use screw mapping for precise axis calibration when you need to compensate for mechanical imperfections in your lead screws or ball screws that cause nonlinear travel. The standard set steps per unit calibration is for calculating a consistent average value based on machine's mechanics, while screw mapping creates a table of corrections to account for variations across the entire axis. Now I want you to think about what I just read to you. Instead of doing just a symmetrical calibration done with set steps per axis, what the normal calibration tool is in Mach 3, where we would symmetrically take a measurement, see the variable, correct for the variable by putting that difference inside of the set steps per unit axis, and the next thing you know, it spits out what number is accurately going to be accounted for inside of Mach 3 to take out that variance, and supposedly your axis is calibrated. But here's the issue. How many guys are running non-ball screw transmissions, rack and pinion, lead screws, or they've machined the location of their transmission themselves? That means there's going to be all kinds of differential variables. Maybe we have a non-linear transmission where we're not getting an accuracy differential at a certain point but at another. Meaning, maybe you don't have an inaccuracy between 1 to 3 inches of travel. But once you go to 4 or 5, now you start seeing a differential inaccuracy. And a lot of guys don't even realize how to correct for that. Well, guess what? You just learned how to correct for it right here. Screw mapping allows for a correction curve. What that means is, every time you take an incremental measurement, you can create a screw mapping curve for that incremental measurement, meaning maybe you've already done 1, 2, 3, 4 inches of measurement on, let's say, a 12-inch chassis, real small CNC, but you need to correct for those deviations going past that. If you want extreme accuracy, this module is your best friend. And once again, don't worry about understanding exactly what I'm saying. You're going to see Google explaining it as well and when to implement this. So let's come over here and let's go over here and start covering it. When to use each calibration method. Use the set steps per unit calculator when you are setting up a machine for the first time. Makes sense. You have a new motor or screw and need a good starting point. Your machine uses ball screws with very low error throughout their travel. High precision is not the main goal, and a consistent but slightly imperfect motion is acceptable. Now, of course, most guys don't want a slightly imperfect motion because, of course, you have a robot. You want it to be as close to accurate as possible. I'm not talking to the good enough guys. You know what I'm talking about. So, again, I'm talking about guys that want a machine that's able to produce the highest possible level of the caliber of machine they're using. Once again, scale should not dictate how accurate a machine is. It's how it's set up. That being said, use screw mapping when. So now we're going into when to use screw mapping. Your machine has a sloppy drivetrain, like a rack and pinion, or imperfect lead screws. Interesting. Rack and pinion naturally has more tolerance variables than a ball screw. Therefore, if you're looking for the maximum amount of precision, this incremental screw mapping measurement system is by far more accurate, but it's more tedious. We'll continue. You have measured and observed nonlinear travel and positional errors along the axis length. High precision is critical for your work. And let me clue you in on something. The guys out there with the 150s, the guys out there with the journeymans, the guys out there with all these alt mills, here's the thing that a lot of guys fail to realize. That machine is typically only going to be as calibrated at a level as the end user is capable of achieving with the precise measuring tools they implement. If they go past a certain measuring point, typically past the dial indicator's measurement, or they do a nonlinear accuracy of travel measurement, meaning let's say the alt mill that they're running is 48 inches in length on the y-axis, and they take an axis calibration and they use a 1-inch dial indicator with 5/10,000ths of an inch accuracy. They bring in that 1-inch calibration, it was off maybe 2/1000ths of an inch, okay? They correct it. They think they're good. But by the time they get out to that full length, maybe 46, 47 inches, that's where their usable machining tolerance is as far as machining area. That's where guys go, wait a minute, I'm no longer at that, 2,000th, 1,000th of an inch in accuracy, if not perfect, when they took the measurement at the 1-inch margin. So why is that? Now you know why that is. Because what they're doing is doing what's known as a linear adjustment, meaning they're saying that that inaccuracy is the same inaccuracy all the way through the axis, even though it may not be. And why is it that it may not be? It's because we have all types of machining tolerances. As an engineer, the one thing we always look at is where the variables are. And the one thing I try to teach you guys all the time with machining, everything has variables. There is no 100% of anything. We try to get it as close as possible. But understanding that there's a tolerance doesn't mean that you have to accept it. It means you should always be trying to tighten it, get it as close as possible. And that's where, once again, screw mapping module comes in, because you can once again do that incremental measurement all the way across, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and keep going. Now that being said, we're going to come over here. Process for set steps per unit calibration. This method uses a simple wizard to calculate a single steps per unit value for each axis. So once again, this is the basic calibration method to be implemented inside of Mach3. You're setting steps per unit calibration. You're going to prepare your machine. Ensure the axis you are calibrating can move its full travel without crashing. Measure accurately. Launch the wizard. I mean, this goes down step by step, far greater than most people will even achieve in detail to explain it. And that's why I recommend using AI properly for learning. This is amazing. We come over here, enter the actual value, accept the new value, test and repeat, save your settings. Now, you guys can slow this video down and once again watch it. I'm perusing through it as fast as possible with the required amount of detail you need to once again get the gist of what we're doing. Process for screw mapping. This advanced process creates a correction curve to compensate for specific measured nonlinearities. Before starting, you should have already completed the set steps per unit calibration to establish a baseline. So once again, using screw mapping is not to eliminate set steps per axis. It's an enhancement of it. Okay, think about what I'm saying. You would naturally do the set steps per axis first, and then if you notice that you go to the screw mapping, and some guys will do this, some guys won't, but now you have another tool in your arsenal. So when I hear guys bitch and complain that they've got a 48-inch chassis and they believe, oh, I don't know what's wrong, I can't get my cuts accurate when it goes out to 45 inches and 44 inches. Most likely it's because there's a tolerance issue somewhere in the mechanics of the frame at that area, and that variable shows up as your differential increases from where your tolerance was measured incrementally. Meaning if you're using a 1-inch dial indicator, you're just taking that and multiplying that out over, once again, the distance of the machine. That does not mean does not mean at all that it's linear. You always have the potential for mechanic issues as far as machining variables, slight inaccuracies, slight friction adjustments, and that's where you would implement, once again, screw mapping. So understanding it's an enhancement of the standard process, which is set steps per axis. Keep that in mind. Number one, mount your high precision measurement tool. Now, once again, high precision means you're going to probably stay, I would say, 5/10,000ths of an inch or even higher. Go down to 1/10,000th of an inch. The higher the precision of the measuring tool you use, the more money you will spend. Logic, right? So keep that in mind. Guys with longer chassis that expect to do long work, meaning large work, you need to keep in mind that in order to keep that accuracy linear, you must have a tool that can calibrate out that distance. Going 1 inch and assuming that you're accurate at the end of the table is asinine. You have to keep that in mind. You may be lucky to have an inaccuracy that is linear, but a lot of times it's not. Hey guys, jump over to eDealers Direct Automation and check out my eBay store for the components used to make what you see in this video, as well as many others that you may not even realize you need. Of course, I'm always there if you have questions. Message me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And of course, I do custom engineering as well as consultations. Thank you for watching this video and your support. Take care. And for nonlinear inaccuracies, once again, screw mapping is your best friend, but it's only your best friend with the proper tools. Invest in them carefully as far as the measurement tool. Move to the home position for repeatable results. You must start and end at the same homing position. Use your home switches or zero the machine coordinates. Open the screw mapping window, and once again it goes into this entire process. Prepare the map for an axis. Record correction points. Do you see it says record correction points? So now we're taking multiple measurements and then we're adding up that variance over multiple measurements. So once again, jog the machine to first measurement point, e.g. 1 inch. Use your DRO or linear scale to find the machine's true position and enter this value into the true position field in the screw mapping window. Click Add Correction Point. Jog to the next point. Repeat the process using evenly spaced points, e.g. every inch is recommended. Now you see how the tolerance here and as far as being tedious of this process is. We're using manual tools, once again staging everything 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, if you have a 1 inch dial indicator. If you're using something like a precision straight edge, once again machinist blocks, those are going to help this process overall, and you're implementing for extreme accuracy. And I know a lot of guys out there going, well, I'm cutting wood, it doesn't matter. I hear those guys a lot. It doesn't matter. It matters when you get out to that table you paid for and you notice your projects once again are off at the 36-inch mark. Your table's 48 inches, and for some reason when you cut things that are small you don't see that intolerance, but you see it when you go out past 30 inches. Now you know why. So don't bitch. Think about what I'm saying. There is no way to half-ass and get away with things. If you're that good enough guy, this is not the video for you. Use the DRO or linear scale to find a machine's true position. Once again, click Add Correction Point. Did you notice it says true position? The true position means if you say to go 1 inch and the machine does not go 1 inch, you notice the axis is short or over, once again positive intolerance or negative intolerance, you're going to put that in under the true position. True position meaning true measurement, and Mach 3 will make a correction point at that measurement spectrum, meaning that point of the measurement on that scale. It will add that so that it will correct for that at that measurement. Now, is this going to be 100% accurate? It's only going to be 100% accurate or even close to it, which again, 100% is never the case. Probably 99, 95, somewhere around there, based on how well you implement moving the tools carefully, because that is the key. Everything here is based upon your system. If your system is good and you're a highly detailed person, this process will work amazing. And anyone with a large table should be doing this anyways and should be thanking me, because I've never seen a video explaining this, and that's why I'm doing it, because it's very detailed, and using AI will break down this process so you guys get the most out of it. So once again, we save the map, enable the mapping, verify your settings, check the correction file size to ensure the new data was saved correctly. The screw mapping correction will be applied while jogging only when running G-code. So once again, Keep that in mind. It will only apply those corrections when running G-code. So when you're jogging, you're not going to see it. Very important to note. Final considerations, thermal expansion. Remember that even when screw mapping, environmental factors like temperature changes can affect screw length and overall machine accuracy. So it's interesting that Google's bringing up things I've discussed before. These are when guys go, well, you're being, you're a rocket scientist. No, I'm not. I'm telling you fact. And a lot of guys don't take these facts in, and then they wonder why they have differential. Guys working in tents, we've seen, all these other type of weird locations, or they're working in non-climate controlled environments. All of that is going to play toll on that machine you have. And I don't care what your budget is. I don't care. You're either doing it right or you're accepting that. If you're accepting that, no complaints. You accept it. The guys that want to do it right, keep these things in mind. Measurement accuracy. The quality of your calibration is only as good as your measurement tools. The more precise your instruments, the more effective your calibration will be. Enough said. Now, keeping this in mind and understanding exactly what we went through here, I recommend all of you take this video, watch it again, go through these key points, and understand exactly what is required to do this. So looking at this complete breakdown will assure you guys have success. Okay, now another thing I want to key out here, because I know there'll be questions on this. You've got screw lengths here, so it's asking you what's the length of your transmission. Very basic. Whether it's a ball screw, rack and pinion, this is extremely important for guys dealing with belt pulley systems and rack and pinion. This is an area of concern you guys will want to pay attention to. Screw map correction enable. This simply means that you're going to enable this correction method for which axis. So again, just select which axis. If you select X, you can click on whatever box you'd like. Once again, true position. So we have true position and add correction point. So what I'm going to do, just so everybody's on the same page, what is the true position and the correction point in the screw mapping module? So now you guys will see exactly, not from me, but by them, so we're all on the same page of how this breaks it down. In Mach3 Screw Mapping module, the true position is the actual physical location, of the machine axis as measured by an external high precision instrument. The correction point is a data entry created by the end user, which stores a set of corresponding values. The axis program position, its position as reported by Mach3, and the true position. So definition, true position. The real-world position of your machine's axis. Because of mechanical errors like bent lead screws, this position will not perfectly match the program position shown on Mach3's digital readout, DRO. How to measure? You must use an accurate measuring device. Purpose, it goes into it. Correction point definition. A data point that associates a program position with its corresponding true position. You create a series of these points across the length of the axis to build a complete error map. Super powerful for those nonlinear corrections. So now you guys who are out there wondering, why is my axis off only at this point? Or why is my X off over here? My gantry slightly over here. If you built your table yourself and you built it, once again, doing the drill and tapping and everything else, if we're using hand tools, we see this done all the time, you're going to have inaccuracies. And even though they may not rear their ugly head on small jobs, it's when we start getting away from where the baseline calibration is. And once again, you now have a tool to get you guys set. So I hope that this has been helpful. Once again, you need more education on this, watch the video again. Grab a pen and paper, take notes. You want to use as many accessible learning tools as possible. All I used here was Google AI. You want to know how to use Google AI? Just come over here to the G. You can see it says AI mode. Click on it, type in your question. Now you know how to do that. You're learning a lot in this video. I'm saving you a lot of time. I'm teaching you a lot of things that I hope you use and get the most out of. Take care.